Hey, welcome to WYT. What's your take? I'm Wyatt Spalding, and this is my sports talk show. Here's my take for today is on Paul George and Chris Paul, how they both had big games in the series. Now, Paul George, I was right. I said in the last show that he would have to come out and have a big game in Game 5 at the Suns. And he did it. He showed everyone, hey, I can come in clutch moments and lead my team. He scored 41 points. 30 of those points came in the second half. Scored 20 points in the third quarter, and 10 in the fourth. He shot 80% for the second half. 80%. 15 for 20. Only missed 5 shots? What? The whole game? Dang. That shows that Paul George can come through in big games, but is it every other game he can come through for his team? Because Game 6 was not as great as Game 5. He only scored 21 points, shot 6 for 15 from the field, and he said at the end of the game they would have won if they would have had Kawhi Leonard. And obviously, yeah, I think if Kawhi Leonard is healthy, the Clippers could beat the Suns and probably go to the NBA Finals. But you know what? He's not healthy. He's out. So when one of your teammates is out, whether it's a role player or the best player on the team, you got to have the mentality of next man up. And that's what the Clippers had to do. And Paul George was able to come through and keep the series going longer. Probably one of the best. That was his best playoff performance. That was a playoff career high in points. Those 41 points in Game 5. So he did show that he could come through for his team. But is it every other game in the playoffs he can come through for his team? Because we don't know. If Kawhi Leonard's there, maybe they win Game 6, and we're talking about the Clippers and Suns going to a Game 7. But I guess we'll never know. The Clippers are going to have to make some moves if they want to increase their team, maybe get a couple more good role players. I don't know what they're going to do with Kawhi. I've heard several things on different sports talk shows where they've said, like, oh, you got to keep him, obviously, or no, get rid of him because he's always injured. I mean, if you're the Clippers, yeah, you should try to keep him. But I honestly think that Kawhi will go somewhere else. I could definitely see Kawhi going to, like, the Miami Heat. There's talks about him maybe going to the Dallas Mavericks. What I would like to see is him go to the Mavericks because I'm a big Luka fan, and him and Luka I think would be good together. But if I really had to put money on it, of where I think it would go, either the Mavericks or Miami Heat, I could see him. He'd probably go to Miami Heat just because it's South Beach. He likes the warm weather there. It's a bigger brand, the Miami Heat is, and the Dallas Mavericks. And, I mean, you got Jimmy Butler there, too. Jimmy Butler's no scrub. He's a star also. So, I think it will be very interesting to see what the Clippers do in the offseason. Now, Chris Paul, he finally did it, man. He's going to the NBA Finals. He came through for his team in Game 6, where he scored 41 points, also just like Paul George did in Game 5. He scored 31 of those points in the second half. Chris Paul is just a born leader, man. In my opinion, one of the top 5 point guards of all time. He's just a leader on and off the court. And if you watch that interview after Game 6, that just shows like his emotion and how it took 16 seasons, 16 years for him to reach the NBA Finals. And that just proves right there how you gotta believe in the process, people. You gotta believe in the process in sports and in life, and that it's not gonna just happen within 2 or maybe 5 years. It could be over 10 years and you're still grinding, trying to go for the ultimate dream that you have for yourself. And you just got to trust the process and believe in the process and yourself. And that is what Chris Paul has done. And now he's going to the NBA Finals. There was always this talk of Chris Paul is going to be one of those all-time greats that never made an NBA Finals, and he just ignored all the haters of saying that and put his head down and worked at it for 16 years and is going to the NBA Finals. Now, he'll have to show that he can win the NBA Finals. Will he go down as one of the superstars to have a championship, or a superstar that has never won a ring? We shall see, I guess. So, the Hawks Bucks series. Honestly, wasn't a big fan of the last game. Once I heard Giannis and Trae Young were out, I was not interested in this game at all. Because if the two superstars of both teams are out, if you're not a big fan of either team, it really isn't something I want to tune in. I know it was the playoffs, conference finals. I did watch it, but I did think about not watching it because, man, the two best players in the series aren't even playing. Even when it was the Hawks without Trae Young versus Giannis, you wanted to see, can the Hawks beat Giannis and the Bucks? And so that made it interesting. Then Giannis also goes down. I think Giannis' injury is way more serious than Trae Young. And yeah, man, but it's just really disappointing that it's the playoffs and both stars for these teams are out. But the Bucks did show that they could win without Giannis, and even before going into Game 5 of the series, I thought it was more of a big deal that Trae Young was out for the Hawks than Giannis getting hurt in the middle of the game and then being out. So, yeah. I mean, the Hawks, they need Trae Young. They need him, man. Without him, I don't think they can beat the Bucks. And they were rolling. And I did say, like, don't count this team out. And I said in one of my last episodes that, you can't count the Hawks out. But I didn't think that Trae Young would get hurt. So, now I think he's playing tonight. I haven't heard anything to say he's out. So, it's probably a game time decision for Trae Young. Giannis, I heard, is out tonight for Game 6. So, but I don't know. I think the Bucks, if Trae Young is out, will win this series tonight and go to the NBA Finals because they do have, I think, probably better role players. They got Middleton, who scored 26 for the game. Brook Lopez, there was talk of, man, can Brook Lopez really come through for this team? And he did. He scored 33 points, leading the team. Then Holiday had 25. Porto, Bobby Porto, had 22 points. Don't know if I said the name right, but he had 22. And then, I mean, the Hawks, Bogdanovic had 28, so he really came through the Hawks team and scoring. Collins had 19. Lou Williams had 17, but I mean the Bucks, I mean, had 4 guys score over 20 points, and the Hawks only had 1. So, I mean, but the Hawks can get going. We've seen the Hawks, get hot, and they just have incredible shooting nights throughout the playoffs. But usually Trae Young is in the game. So, I think if Trae Young is healthy, I'm just going to go with kind of my gut and say that I think the Hawks could win tonight and take it to Game 7 if Trae Young plays. And that's a big game tonight. But if Trae Young is also out like Giannis, I'm taking, then I mean, it favors the Bucks. Because they just, I believe, they're bigger. They have way bigger power forwards and just bigger guys all around. And two, they just have better role players, and you could see that in Game 5 that a lot of those guys came through. It was really disappointing that Trae Young got hurt and Giannis got hurt in the middle of Game 4. So, but that's the playoffs for the Bucks and the Hawks, and so just something you got to deal with in sports. So, a little sports history. So the Suns are going to the NBA Finals. The last time the Suns played in NBA Finals was 1993. Before that, they made the NBA Finals in 1976. The best game in the 1976 NBA Finals was Game 5, where they faced the Boston Celtics, and the Boston Celtics won in 3 overtimes, 128 to 126. I suggest you go watch that game during COVID when there was no sports. That was one of the many, many, many games I looked up on YouTube and watched, and even though it was in the 70s, it was a pretty good game. Or go on ESPN Plus and watch Basketball Love Story, and they show a quick documentary clip on Game 5 of the 1976 NBA Finals that was held on June 4th that year. Now, in 1993, the Suns face the great Chicago Bulls of the 90s. Charles Barkley averaged a double-double for that series, 27 points and 13 rebounds. Michael Jordan scored at least over 30 points every game. His best game in that series was Game 4, where he scored 55 points on 21 of 37 shooting, 8 rebounds, 4 assists. But in the end, the Suns could not pull it out. Charles Barkley was able to come through in Game 5 and the Suns and push it to a Game 6. But on June 20th, 1993, the Bulls won 99-98 as John Paxson hit the winning shot to clinch the NBA championship. So, today with the next take, we're going to go with what's my why. And my why for this is, why are people complaining about everyone getting hurt and the off-season being short? Because, you know what? I don't care if the off-season was short. I know there's a lot of injuries. It's disappointing for the playoffs. But you know what? In sports and in life, sometimes you just got to deal with the disappointments. And there's also successes that come along. And people maybe benefit from other people's disappointments. It just happens, man. You know, sometimes in life, it just doesn't work out. Or you get screwed every now and then. So, you know, yeah, there's a lot of injuries, and let's say the Suns win the NBA Finals, and the Bucks play the Finals without Giannis, and they're gonna say, "Oh, well, if Giannis was there, they would have won." So it really doesn't count, or there's an asterisk by it. No, man. You know, the Suns worked hard to get to the Finals, and whether Giannis plays or not in the Finals, if the Bucks win tonight, then you know you can't just say like, if Giannis doesn't play in the Finals, oh, well, you know, doesn't count. The Suns worked hard to get there, so, and injuries are just a part of sports, man. And if you look at it, I heard the other day on The Herd with Colin Cowherd that all the guys getting injured are like the same guys that get injured every year. Kawhi, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving. It's just some, like, the only freak ones were, like, Harden got injured. And then Jaylen Brown got injured, and the Celtics were without him in the first round. I guess Giannis getting injured was kind of shocking a little bit, but, I mean, he's kind of been out before anyway in the regular seasons when there was a longer off season. So, But you just gotta deal with it, man. And there's been a lot of guys that won championships where the opposing team had injuries. The Warriors in 2015, Kyrie and Kevin Love go down. The the Raptors in 2019, Kevin Durant's hurt, Klay Thompson gets hurt. But you know what? They still won the championship, and those teams benefited from the other team's disappointments. And just because the other team couldn't stay healthy, the team that won the finals shouldn't uh, take an asterisk or have negativity thrown at them because the other team couldn't get the job done and stay healthy and win the finals. Because that team that won the finals, they did everything that they could to get there, and everything just went right. Sometimes in life, everything goes your way, and sometimes it doesn't. So stop complaining about people getting injured and the playoffs not being that great because the off season was short. It just happens, and I've complained about it a little to my friends, but you know what? Just gotta deal with it. So that's my why for today. Thanks for watching. What's your take with Wyatt Spalding? See you next time for episode 4.